It was the kind of evening that seemed pulled straight from the pages of a thriller novel. Rain hammering against the windows, thunder rumbling in the distance, and the lights inside the Denton residence glowing soft and golden, like a trap set for a moth. At 11:04 p.m., a frantic 911 call shattered the silence of Willow Creek's quiet suburban night. "My husband's not breathing. Please, I think he's dead." Veronica Denton's voice trembled with panic. When paramedics arrived, they found Charles Denton, 42, collapsed on the kitchen floor, a half-finished glass of red wine by his hand, and steak untouched on his plate. His wife knelt beside him, sobbing, dressed in silk pajamas, her mascara streaked down her cheeks. At first glance, it looked like a tragic, sudden cardiac arrest. But behind Veronica's tears was a chilling secret. She'd just become a multimillionaire. Charles Denton's death shocked Willow Creek. He was a respected financial advisor, known for his crisp suits and weekend barbecues. To his neighbors, Charles and Veronica seemed like the perfect couple, polished, poised, and well-off. But behind closed doors, their marriage was unraveling. Friends later recalled Charles's growing paranoia. He accused Veronica of lying, tracked her spending, and reportedly visited a lawyer to update his will. Yet Veronica was the picture of grief. At the funeral, she wore black lace and clutched her husband's wedding band with trembling fingers. She kissed the closed casket and delivered a heartbreaking eulogy. Then, just 7 days after his burial, she filed 2 life insurance claims worth $2.5 million. Both policies had been amended just 2 months before his death, with suspicious signatures and updated beneficiaries. Veronica was set to inherit every cent. That's when Detective Michael Kearns entered the picture. Michael Kearns had seen it all: arson for insurance scams, lovers who turned to poison, even a woman who staged her own death to escape debt. 20 years in homicide gave him a gut instinct he trusted more than any lab test. And his gut told him Veronica Denton was lying. But there was no proof, yet. The coroner's initial report listed cause of death as cardiac arrest. Still, Kearns requested a full toxicology screen. He paid Veronica a visit under the guise of following up on details for the death certificate. She opened the door barefoot, wrapped in a robe, hair pulled into a loose bun. The house smelled like lavender and sadness. "Detective Kearns," she said with a forced smile. "I've been expecting you." Tea, jazz music, candlelight. It all felt staged. Still, he sat across from her, asked about Charles's health. She said he'd been stressed, tired, distant. "I tried to get him to slow down. I begged him to see a doctor," she said, eyes misty, "but he wouldn't listen." Kearns left unsettled. And then, 2 days later, the lab results came in. Charles Denton had been poisoned. The poison was digitalis, extracted from foxglove plants. It slows the heart and mimics a heart attack. Subtle, lethal, difficult to detect without a full panel. Charles had ingested a massive dose, mixed into his wine, and Veronica was the only one home that night. Kearns pulled her financials. She had already started house shopping, luxury condos in Miami, and beachfront properties in Belize. A burner phone linked her to a mysterious herbalist who sold rare toxins under the table. But just as the evidence piled up, Michael started falling for her. It began with late-night calls under the pretext of questioning. She'd cry softly, share memories, talk about how alone she felt. He felt sorry for her, then intrigued, then captivated. Before long, he was meeting her off the record. And then, he crossed the line. They kissed. Michael told himself it was a mistake, but he kept going back. Hotel rooms, whispered secrets, champagne and shadowed guilt. Veronica confessed that her marriage had been miserable, that Charles had been controlling, cruel, even violent. "You see the headlines," she whispered one night, "but you don't know what it's like to be a prisoner in your own home." Michael started protecting her, delaying paperwork, dodging internal briefings. His captain noticed. "You're too close to this one, Kearns. Back off." He didn't listen. He believed her, until he found the plane ticket. A one-way flight to Belize, booked under the alias Celeste Rowan, the same name on the offshore account that had received over $1.3 million. Veronica was going to disappear, and she wasn't taking him with her. Michael confronted her, rage in his voice, betrayal in his eyes. "Were you ever going to tell me?" Veronica stared at him, calm. "You fell in love with a story, detective. I just gave it to you." He reported everything. Surveillance resumed. Veronica vanished. Interpol flagged her passport at the Belize airport 6 months later. She dyed her hair, changed her name, and was engaged to a tech mogul. She was arrested without incident. Case closed. Or so it seemed. Preparing for trial, Michael dug deeper. He discovered something terrifying. Veronica hadn't been the first to plot murder. Months before Charles's death, surveillance footage showed him purchasing chemicals linked to digitalis. He'd also researched how to induce heart failure undetected. Even darker searches on Veronica's laptop began weeks after Charles had already started poisoning her. She wasn't planning to kill him first. She was planning to fight back. A forensic analysis revealed she had been microdosed with the same poison. Symptoms: fatigue, disorientation, memory lapses. She didn't kill Charles out of greed. She killed him out of survival. He had tried to kill her, and she turned the tables. At her trial, Veronica's defense painted her as a battered wife who discovered her husband's attempt to murder her. She acted in panic, fear, but the prosecution argued otherwise. She waited, plotted, profited. Michael was called to the stand. He confessed everything: the affair, the cover-up, his guilt. "I lost myself," he told the courtroom, but she knew exactly who she was the whole time. Veronica was sentenced to life in prison without parole. But as the judge delivered the verdict, Veronica looked past the lawyers, past the jury, and smiled. At a man in the gallery, a man with glasses, thinner, older, but familiar. He looked like Charles. After the trial, Michael watched the footage again. The man who resembled Charles left seconds after sentencing. No ID, no trace. The casket had been closed. The autopsy rushed. DNA never confirmed. Was Charles still alive? Had they both staged something deeper? Was Veronica a pawn or the queen in a long game? Michael never found out. He resigned from the force, disappeared from public view. He later published a memoir called The Smile at the End of the Trial. In it, he wrote, "There are no heroes in stories like this, only survivors and ghosts. She fooled me, but maybe she fooled him first." In the end, justice was served. But truth, that may have escaped through the courtroom doors with a quiet smile. Veronica Denton played the game to survive. Charles Denton may have played to win. And Detective Michael Kearns, he played with his heart and lost.